Welcome to the Real Estate Fight Club, a podcast for agents where you'll witness a battle of opinions about topics affecting your real estate business. Now, always in your corner, here are your hosts, Jenn Mertland and Monica Weekly.
Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Fight Club. What is up, my partner, Jenn Mertland?
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you? Did you have a good birthday?
I had a great birthday. I'm just happy to have a birthday.
Oh, shit.
At this
It looks
point,
like you're 120.
and I think I've told you before, my dad says, I say, Dad, how you doing? He says, I'm vertical and taking nourishment. This is his standard for living at this point.
I like it. Okay. Get it.
Nourishment. Yeah, right.
We want to know when you're going back into the dog kennel.
You know, I feel like I should be
Tell
doing
us about it if people don't know.
Oh my gosh. Yes. A few years ago, for my 50th birthday, I wanted to make a real impact in this dog shelter that I cared a lot about, this county dog shelter. And so I came up with, I'll tell you, actually, I came up with living in the shelter with the dogs in the kennel for a weekend. And I wanted to raise $25,000, but it was for my 50th birthday. So we knew we were going to do 50 hours for my 50th birthday for $25,000. And we were having this little meeting of these people that were going to help me execute on this and how were we going to do it. And I was like, we'll call it 50 for 50 for 25. And this gal goes, that just sounds awful.
It does.
Let's do 50 for 50 for 50. And I thought, well, that sounds better, but there ain't no freaking way. But let's do it because if we hit 25, we'll be super happy.
Yeah.
So it became 50 for 50 for 50, for my 50th. So 50 hours for 50K, 50th birthday. And damn, if we didn't blast by $50,000. And this is the lesson of aim big, go.
Yes.
Not thinking big enough. If we would have said 25, that's how much we would have made.
How much did you get?
We were like $57,000.
That's great.
Oh, it was awesome. We Q102 covered it. Channel 5 covered it.
You're
More
famous.
importantly to me, we got so many dogs adopted because we were on social media like crazy. And
Did you get 50 dogs adopted?
Not quite, but quite a bit. And
Ooh.
one of the dogs' names was Griff, and he had been there for 3 years.
Yeah, baby.
And he got picked up by this gal that trains dogs. Because, he'd been living in a kennel for 3 years, so he needed some, acclimation. And he ended up getting placed with this family through a program called Pets for Patients. And this dog is so happy living in the best family. And I mean, it was, if nothing else happened, but Griff got placed after 3 years in that freaking kennel. It was worth it. So it was pretty cool.
Did they let you out to use the bathroom and eat and stuff, or did you just have to go there and they delivered your food?
Yeah. Yes. No, I was running around the entire shelter a little bit. But
hanging out with all the dogs.
Yeah. But I did the first minute I went in. There's a video, actually. I should try to find that. I went in the kennel with this really shy little dog who was not having me at first, but once I sat in the kennel with him, he was all over me and he just became a different dog. And I started bawling my face off, and I was going live.
Oh, shit.
I was talking about what I was going to do. And then I was talking about this dog and they just want homes and ready to be, and I'm bawling. And I actually think that's what got people like, it wasn't.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Like, oh shit. So anyway.
Well, enough talk about let's fight.
Okay. Yeah. That was, way too much.
We digress.
Yeah.
That was really cool what you did.
You asked. I loved it. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. We love that you're here today. Jenn and I are going to talk about and fight about a little topic that maybe is a little different and maybe you've never even thought about. The question is, should agents only get paid when the house sells? Or is there some other payment structure?
This is so good.
Should agents only get paid? This is one of those things where we just operate as if that is the norm and it's the way it's always been.
Right.
And we never question it. What if we started questioning this?
Well, and in our series, thank you for teeing me up, even though you didn't know that you were going to do that, is in Better Call Saul, we talk about what is currently possible that if it were impossible would be a paradigm shift. And what if what is possible were impossible. So here we're asking, you're right. It's like, okay, right now we get paid when we complete it. But what if we got paid differently? So like, let's talk some options. I think we should be paid like by like how lawyers are for time, plus a bonus on winning.
Yes, like for settling the suit and the client wins, right?
Yeah, but like, you get paid. There's like a retainer, right? And then you get paid at the end when it sells.
Do you think if there was a retainer, fewer people would hire agents?
No.
You think people, I think there'd be a problem because I'm not saying it's not right, but there'd be a problem because a lot of people wouldn't have the money. And the only reason they're paying a realtor is because they know it's coming out of the proceeds and that's where their money is.
Disagree. They pay lawyers all the time. It's never about the money ever.
It's always about the money.
Never about the money. If it were about the money, you wouldn't have a Lexus, you wouldn't have an Acura, you wouldn't have a Ferrari, a Maserati. It's never the money.
All right. Okay. So how would you, okay, so you get this upfront money. And then for that,
or build hourly. You could be billed hourly. The buyer would make a quicker decision. Like, are you sure you want to see that house? When you said you didn't want a basement and this one has a basement.
Oh, wait, so we're talking about charging buyers now too, or what?
Yeah.
I thought we were only talking about seller if the house sells.
Look, I'm talking about everybody. Everybody gets charged.
Okay. So
like a lawyer.
What would happen if you paid me and what are you paying me for then exactly? Let's talk through this.
Well, if you're selling, you're paying for the expertise, right? On the buy or the sell side. Okay. So you want a consultation and a marketing plan, and you want me to execute that plan and get you what you want, right?
Right. You want me to take photos. You want me to put it on the proper channels.
You want to price it right. You want me to coordinate showings. You want me to coordinate like inspection stuff. You want my expertise. I mean, Monica, you have 20 years of business. You know a thing or two about selling houses.
Yeah. You know,
that's worth something.
I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna fight because as I'm talking through this,
wrong. I'm gonna mute you.
I actually think the way it's set up is right.
Wrong.
That you should get paid decently when we deliver on the promise, which is
what if you deliver, you do the consult, you represent the seller, you do the consultation, you market it properly, another agent comes, there's an offer. It is in line with what the seller said that they wanted. Everything's in line. The price, the terms, everything's in line. They even maybe they maybe sign it, but let's just say they don't.
Okay.
Instead, they change their mind.
That is questionable then. That I think
No, it's not. You should get paid.
No, that's what I'm saying. That I think you should get paid. I did my job. You changed your mind. I did my job. I brought you ready, willing, and able.
And you spent money, which is why you should have the retainer.
I like the caveat of if I bring you a ready, willing, and able buyer in the range in which we talked about, I should get paid. Whether you decide to execute on it or not is up to you.
But you're going to have to collect that shit up front. And then it can be
subtracted
from, or there's some kind of lien or something. I don't know.
Yeah. What do you think is the most valuable aspect of an agent's job from start to finish, from consult to sale? What do you think the thing, if you wanted to pin the most amount of money to, that the best agents in this thing would be making the most money? What is that?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say.
Let's talk about the options. It's pricing strategy.
Yeah.
Negotiation skills. Because that's where you can make. Then there's marketing. Seems like those are the three kind of true.
Are we saying keeping it together as negotiation skills? Like completing it? Yeah. And I was toggling between pricing and negotiation. A lot of people, I think, put too much emphasis on the marketing part, but you could market an overpriced listing all day and it not sell, and you can never market an underpriced listing and it sell. So I don't put as much weight on the marketing. I think that's more for seller optics. I don't know. What do you think?
No, totally agree with that. Because
but if you had to pick one, is it price or negotiation?
I think price has to come first. There will not be any negotiation if you have the wrong price. So I'm going to prioritize price. Yeah. Now, negotiation is important, and that's why FSBOs fail, I think, because they don't understand the proper techniques of negotiating.
Or price.
Or pricing, for that matter, yes. But you can't even get to those two parts if you don't price it right. So,
okay. Let's do you want to take a break, or do you have anything to add for more sellers?
Let's take a break. I need to
Let's take a break, and then let's talk about buyers, because you differentiated between that. Okay. Let's hear from our favorite partners. And I want to tell you that if you're an agent and you want to find out how to partner with us, we can help you grow your business, get you that dream you always wanted, making more money, having more time, all that good stuff, without having to pay without having to pay a single penny, or us having any of your commission. You get to keep all your money too. Call or text me at 513-400-1691.
Are you struggling with what is the ideal path for you? What's next for you? There's so many options to try to figure out, and there's so many different ways that you could take your business, but it's all pretty confusing. So our coach, Coach John Kitchens, came up with a short little quiz that will help you figure out the ideal path for you. Go to realestatecareeraccelerator.com, take the free short quiz, and figure out your ideal path. That's realestatecareeraccelerator.com.
All right, welcome back. Let's get back to the battle inside the ring. I got to be honest, Jen, this is kind of like expanding my brain, this thought, because I've never ever thought about it. I've always
a headache now.
Yeah, a little bit. I've never questioned how we get paid.
That's the problem with
question, like the amount, like people question our amount all the time, but the how we get paid is such an interesting thing to think about.
You got to talk to Saul Klein. If you don't know this guy, he has been in real estate longer than I've been alive.
That's awesome.
So
you got to tune into Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul. But he is literally the person that has expanded people's minds over these decades. He literally was the first person to put real estate listings on the internet. And he went and sold it to all the MLSs, and he had to he said he had, what were those? It wasn't a slide projector. It had like a light bulb.
Oh, the overhead?
The overhead projector to show them what the internet was.
No, that's awesome. When do you drop your Better Call Sauls?
They're like on Fridays, about every other week.
Go to our YouTube channel, Real Estate Fight Club YouTube channel, and you'll see it's a playlist, Better Call Saul.
Yeah, they're so good.
Yeah.
But what we've been talking about a lot is the world, real estate is changing. Mm-hmm. And the way that we operate currently is not going to be the way that we operate in the future. We have been operating for this way for so long. It's ripe for change. Mm-hmm. So if we are going to change, why don't we get in front of this change? And one of the Department of Justice is questioning our pay. So let us question the pay. What actually does make sense? And for me, I think that as real estate agents, as this is my business, this is your business, we have to level up. And a level up is a consultant. And how do consultants get paid? They get paid by project. They typically collect a fee up front, then they do the work, and then they collect another fee. I don't understand why we don't do that.
What about the lawyers that advertise on TV and they say, you don't pay unless you win?
Yeah, there's going to be those too. There's always going to be.
That's what's going to happen in our industry. If we make the change, they're going to be those.
That's happening now. That's a flat fee listing, basically, sorta.
Yeah. Like always something rubbing against the norm.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, if you're competing on, okay, well, that's how we get paid now. So like you don't get paid unless you get closed. So we are that. So if we're that, should we elevate?
Yeah. Should we get to the next level of attorney, which is charging with a upfront retainer and
your retainer
buy
or
the
hourly at least. Like, okay, let's talk about buyers. So if we were paid this way, if we were paid like hourly, and you had a buyer, what would happen?
they're not gonna, this would blow up our industry. This would be awful.
No,
This
wrong.
would be awful because the buyer would not pay for the service. The buyer only uses the real estate agent because they're free right now.
They're not free.
Well, they think they're free. They don't have to come out of pocket with any money. So they would just go straight to the listing agent and it would be a mess.
No.
Yeah, they're not going to pay for us.
Disagree.
Not everybody. Some people will, but the far majority of people that at this minute don't understand how we get paid anyway.
Well, then that's our fault.
This is true. This is true.
Because it's not free. It never has been free. And they do pay for it. And potentially you could make it so it gets wrapped up in the loan. But they have to have, you have to have some money to buy a house anyway. This is part of the cost.
So it's billable but payable out of the deal.
It could be. Look,
Okay.
it's your business.
That I think could work.
If you have a client where that makes more sense, do that. I just don't think that that's a majority of the clients.
Right.
Everybody always says they don't have enough money. And then I see them riding around with rims or, do you know what I mean? In their nice Uggs or whatever, or getting Starbucks. Look, you don't have money. You're not buying that stuff. You got money. You just don't want to pay for anything. That is not the same thing as not having money.
What it would do is cut down on the showings you didn't really care about, or if you weren't totally serious.
But it could up the open houses.
Yeah, because those are free look.
Yeah. Unless you charge an entry fee.
Oh, I don't know that. I don't think that'll work.
Look, got to take it one step further. What if you have a buyer that they put in an offer, it got accepted, and they're through all their contingencies, but they changed their mind? Should you get paid?
And you represented
the buyer? You're the buyer's agent.
Yeah. Well, it depends on who was buying it.
What do you mean? Yes.
Right,
the answer is yes.
The seller's paying it. So why would they pay you? You didn't deliver to them. You didn't deliver to them.
On our agreement.
No, the agreement, what you're getting paid for from the seller standpoint is bringing the buyer to close the house.
I think you should still get paid. It's going to change very quickly that the buyer pays their own agent.
Yeah.
That's happening.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a strong buyer consultation and you don't get a signed agreement that says you get paid, you're already behind. So do that. If you need one, message us. I'll send it to you, or go to the vault, jennifermertlin.com/vault. It's in there too.
Yeah.
But let's say that changes. Okay. I also think you should still get paid. If you did what they requested, you found a house and they changed their mind, that doesn't mean you didn't do the work.
Mm-hmm.
But in your head, it's different than the seller, because on the seller, you agreed.
Because of where the funds are coming from. That's why.
It's being wrapped up into the buyer's loan, and now there's no loan.
Now, if that changed, then that would make sense, because you executed on what the buyer hired you to do.
So then so then you have a thing. So then it's like, okay, well, should the earnest money then go up? The earnest money then goes up to cover what the agents make and a compensation for the seller to take it off the market.
And then the earnest money goes to the agent.
And all of them, it goes to both. It goes to the agents and the seller.
The sellers.
Because everybody's harmed in the transaction. Everybody did what they said.
Yeah.
Let's say there's 4 people, both agents, the buyer and the seller.
Yeah.
3 of the 4 did what they said. Why are we always the one that has to forego our pay? That's bullshit.
What if the buyer loses their job the week before?
That's different. That's a contingency.
Because they can't qualify for the loan.
Because they can't qualify for the loan. I'm saying if they change their mind.
What if a trauma happens in their lives and it's like legit? It's legit.
Look, yes, it's your business. You can run your business how you want. I'm just talking in general. Everything's fine. They just change their mind. I mean, this happens.
You want to be able to have the backing of the
right now. There's nothing.
industry.
They lose. I mean, in some markets, it's like $500. It's like nothing. Earnest money is a joke.
It is. It is. Is that a barrier to home ownership though? If you start increasing those things and making it harder and making the buyers pay?
There's always a way. There's always a way to solve problems.
There is. And this is an interesting concept. I'm not being a naysayer. I'm saying that's going to be a long road to change that shit right there.
Well, you got to start walking sometime.
Got to start somewhere.
If you never start, the road doesn't get shorter.
If you could just start from scratch and
we will. I'm blowing this shit.
I know you're blowing it up. I know you are.
This is good. I want to know what everybody else thinks.
I really do want to hear from everybody. This is, if you've never gone to our Facebook page, Real Estate Fight Club Podcast, or you've never gone into Instagram or the TikTok, let us know. Go in, and we want to hear about your thoughts on should agents only get paid if the house sells. Let's create the conversation. What if it all starts here, Jen?
It will. It does. It starts with you. Be the change that you want in the world.
That's right. That's right. I love it. All right. I think that's going to have to be the end of today's round. What do you guys think? You agree with Jen? I kind of was on the opposite side. There were some things I agreed with, but not all. So are you Team Monica, Team Merlin?
No.
What do you think? Go to our Facebook page and comment and let us know what you think.
All right. Bye. All right. I am here with our tiebreaker, David Sciplin. He is from Coldwell Banker in San Jose, California, and a veteran realtor at 16 years. Hey, David.
Hello. How are you?
Good. I am glad that you're our tiebreaker because I can't wait to hear if this has happened to you and your thoughts. So you do your job, but the client doesn't perform on the contract. Should you still get paid?
That is a very interesting question. I'd like to say yes all the time.
Yes, 100%. Yes.
Yeah.
End of podcast.
Yes. But how many times have we been in a situation where we've worked tirelessly for a client and circumstances happen? Sometimes they happen, but when we go to the 100th degree and we do our absolute best and they don't perform on our contract,
right,
and end up working with somebody else without telling us, how do we deal with those situations when we've actually done our job to put them into a contract?
Exactly. So can you tell us a story of when this happened to you?
Sure. So I have several relocation contracts with different companies, and I received one, and they basically said it was a VIP client. Okay. They lived in a different state, and he
as relocation does, right? That's right.
Yeah. And he was moving to our area and with his family. So I met them for a week. They came out. I talked to all the family, the mother, father, husband, wife, kids.
Yeah.
Got a really good idea of what they were looking for. We looked at actually 12, 15 homes when they were here for the week.
When there were 12 and 15 available.
Yeah. So, we walked through the homes, got a good idea what they were looking for. They went back home. So what I do in those situations that I do walkthrough videos. I take a video, walk through their home, describe the home, talk to them as I'm walking through the video.
Yeah.
We talk on the phone, get an idea, if it's good or bad. So I ended up doing 31 of those for this client. 31.
That's a lot.
A lot of videos. The sad thing about this one is I actually wrote 14 contracts for these people. 14.
And none of them got accepted?
The issue was because of the state that he was in. So where he was buying is probably the most expensive place you can buy in California.
Okay, geez, that's saying something.
Yeah, I'll tell you the price at the end.
Okay.
So, and he wanted to live, he wanted his kids to go into the best schools in that area.
Yeah.
So, understandably, you want to make sure you get what you're paying for.
Right.
So the problem was in the states where based on where he was in the Midwest, prices here are totally different.
Right.
So every contract that I wrote, for the most part, it was always too much.
Too low. Not enough.
Right. So so when I do my comps, I do them basically a way an appraiser would have
Okay. That's a
So
good
I'm not an
idea.
appraiser, not an appraiser, but I use the same techniques that they use. So when I price a home, I do it in a way that's going to get them the home, in my opinion. But the price that I recommended was always too high.
Okay.
So he would say, you know, that's too high, offer right for, you know, a lower amount, which I did, and he'd lose them.
Did you see this? I don't know if you're ever on like Instagram. There was this one of the millionaire real estate agent, whatever they are. You know what I'm talking about? The guys in on the TV shows.
Yeah.
He was talking about in like on a little video that he had a guy like that, a client like that, who felt like he got a deal. And so he called and he had a property that he wanted to show him and that he had listed. And so he called his assistant and was like, hey, up the price, because I know this guy's not going to want to offer like what we have it listed at. So up the price. And so he upped the price and the guy ended up offering the lower price, which was the original list price. And he's like, yeah, I felt like I got a deal. And he's like,
well, yeah.
Okay.
Except the only problem is these are with other brokerages. And,
right. You can't do it. Yeah. Also feels a little unethical, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
but if it's an in-house listing and you can do that, you know.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, go on. So there are people like that, right? Like, even if the value is there, and you're saying that the way that you help the buyer determine value is in line with an appraisal, which feels like an accurate evaluation. And every time it was like, no, we don't want to pay this. We want a deal. So like, okay.
But when you're buying in a hot market, when homes are only staying on that market for 7 days,
David, you don't have to tell me.
You have to put a price that's going to win. You have to be a winner.
Right.
You're either going to win or you're going to lose. There's no middle ground. You're either going to win or you're going to lose. You can't
share the house. Okay.
So, you know, and I always go back through the list, my contracts after the home is closed, kind of see where I am.
Yeah.
Majority of those he would have gotten if he would have listened to me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I tell my clients this is the price. So out of the 14 contracts that we wrote, we got counter offers on 2.
Okay.
One was in a perfect gated community, beautiful home, met all those criteria. He actually came out and looked at it.
Okay.
Thought it was a really great home.
Great.
Drove to the schools. Everything was perfect.
Great.
Until he realized it's the opposite direction from where he goes to work.
Wah-wah.
You got a wife that drives and the father that drives.
Yeah.
But he's trying to take on the entire family responsibility.
Right.
So in that particular school district, when there was a point in time where the state cut budgets for schools, and a lot of schools canceled their bus programs. Well, this happened to be one of them that didn't have buses. So you got to drive your kids to school.
Okay.
Perfect house, met all its criteria, but it went
not the location, I guess.
So I also got him in the contract on 2 homes.
Okay.
And before he put the deposit in, he changed his mind.
Oh no. So that I mean, look, if you put the offer in and you lose, right? I'm not sure that you shouldn't. I don't think you get paid because the buyer agent or the buyer hired you, the buyer agent, to help them win the contract. But at what point, when they're not listening to the advice, it feels like there's like a switch somewhere in there. Maybe it's contract 14, maybe it's contract 5, but like, what do you think?
Well, normally in a normal contract, if I'm writing a bunch of contracts and they don't do what they're advised to do, there's a point where an agent can say, I'm not going to work with you anymore.
Exactly. But they are due 0 compensation.
Correct. So I'll tell you, so this was a $4 million client.
Nice. Yeah.
And when it comes from as a relocation, I have a responsibility to make sure I do it 200% to make sure I work with this client to go through every little possibility to make sure that they can buy.
Right.
Because if I perform, I get more. If I don't perform, then I don't get as many.
Exactly. So right. They're not going to keep sending them to you because they get a portion of that commission too.
Correct.
That makes sense. Okay.
So, if I get you in the contract, and the other issue is it was always a rush. I see this house, put an offer. I see this house, put an offer.
Yeah.
I always recommend do all your research. I'm sending you videos.
Yeah.
You have people in the area. If you
Look
have
at the
friends in the
map.
area, go look at the map. Have your friends go out and take a look at it. You got a contractor, you need to do some work. Have your contractor go out and look at it. There's always some time to do those things.
Right.
But if you don't take your opportunities as a client to do what you're supposed to do beyond what I'm recommending, what do you want me to do?
But what do you think about, okay, so in the times that a client puts in an offer, it gets accepted, then the buyer client changes their mind and they agree that the earnest money is due to the seller. Is that also a point where you've earned your commission?
So in my opinion, the definition is once you find a willing and able buyer and you put them into contract on a home that they agree to purchase, that is the point where the agent should earn their commission. Except
that if the seller doesn't accept.
I mean, when the seller,
when they're in contract.
When you're in contract,
okay,
the meeting of the minds, everybody signs everything is done.
Well,
like
and
it.
but then you have to deal with what about the contingencies being released? Because
yes, in our market when it was hot, if the offer had any contingencies, it would not get accepted. So all these offers I wrote for him were non-contingent offers.
So you're saying you believe the agent is due a commission when there's when the buyer and seller agree to a specific contract and the points of the contract were met other than the actual closing, and assuming there is a contingency for like the loan to be funded, right? Or if it's cash, whatever. But let's say, except for like the loan being the financial one, the agent is due a commission.
Correct. Now, when there are contingencies, there's an understanding that the client has an opportunity and a right to make sure that they verify those contingencies and make sure that they
agree. Yeah, agree.
But when there's a non-contingent offer, you're supposed to take your time to make sure you really, really want the home.
Yeah, because there's no way out.
There's no way out.
How'd you get him out of 2 contracts?
The deposit wasn't put in. And if the deposit isn't put in, there's no deal.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so what happened, man?
Well, I also had 3 verbal agreements. All he had to do was write a contract on. One of those was a tear down. He wanted to tear down the house, a corner lot that met his size requirements, met the school requirements, everything. The agent actually gave me a verbal approval the night before. I contacted my client, said let's write on this. He said, I'll get back to you. I had to give him an answer by noon, 9 o'clock. I called him, 10 o'clock. I called him, called his wife, says, where is he? I need an answer on this property. 2 o'clock comes, he calls me. So, let's go on it. He's already lost it because the seller's agent says, I have other people that want to buy this home. I have other contracts. I'll take yours because you were first in here, but you gotta let me know.
Right.
If you don't let me know.
Yeah. So what happened?
He lost it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, now what? Where are you at now?
Oh, that was in the middle, and we go find another property.
Okay.
So what happens is at the end, he came in town, and I was showing him properties, and I talked to him about finding a rental because he wanted to move here so he can be closer to where the properties were, so he can act a little faster.
Sure.
And then I get home. And as soon as I get home, I get an email from the relocation company that says, please don't contact this client anymore.
Which you should have stopped contacting him a long time ago. Dave.
Yeah. So I call my local rep to say,
right.
Yeah. So I call my local rep to say what's going on. And, I just talked to this guy 5 minutes ago. I just sent him an email for rental properties that he was asking for. And she says, hold on, I'll find out what's going on. And she sends me an email back, says, oh, he had been working behind my back with other clients, with other agents. So you know how the relocation game works is
Yeah.
the money that we pay to the relocation company basically pays his benefits.
Right.
So they actually canceled his benefits.
Because it was even somebody outside of the relocation company. Oh my goodness. Did he buy a house?
Yeah. So
A $4 million house?
I check, you know, I go on MLS, all the county recs all the time just to check and see what my clients that I don't work with have done. He ended up buying a house. It needed work. And it was a deal that he had turned down that I had gotten on the other houses that he had turned down.
Oh, but not that specific house.
Not that specific house. Well, that's a different conversation. That's a different conversation. Because if I would have showed him that house, now I'm the procuring agent on the property.
Exactly. And you would have a leg to stand on. But I bet the other agents didn't know either.
He didn't know.
Nobody knew.
No.
So he forwent his benefits. Well, I mean, look, I guess I don't know. I think we're on the same page. Okay, so let's do it like let me ask you this. What are your lessons learned from that?
It's hard to say because, if you do everything that you're supposed to, in a normal situation, I'm getting to contract 7. And if you're not doing what I'm asking you to do, I'm canceling.
Yeah.
This is a little bit harder to do.
So you are at 7 now? 7? Depending,
well,
I'm sure it
depends. It depends.
But like somewhere around there, you're like, this isn't working. Something's not working. Is it the market? Is it us? What is it, right?
Well, in our market, especially when you're dealing with those property values, it's all about reputation.
Yeah.
The client, the agent is working with you because of your reputation.
Right.
And I flat out told him, you can't keep doing this because you're damaging my reputation because I have to work with these people.
Right. That's like kind of a hard line, right? Though, because I see what you're saying. It's like there's these lowball offers that are going in, and we're supposed to write. It's like we have a fiduciary responsibility to write up the offer that they want to give. But then to your point before, it's like, well, if they're not taking the advice and you feel like they're never going to get an accepted contract, or if you do your dollar per hour, it's just like, there's no return on investment for you. It's like, just time to let them go. Like there's nothing good that can come out of this, right?
Well, yes, but I've had clients that I've worked with over a number of years. Wow. And actually one I worked with for 3 years, and he moved to different states. He was here for a while, went to another state, came back, and I just sold him a $1 million home.
Yeah.
It just closed.
So it just depends.
It just depends.
Yeah, it just depends. And I think I don't know about you, but for me, I get this feeling, right? Like I know, I'm like, this person and I are not really compatible.
Yes, and I do have those, but this particular client, we saw eye to eye. When I could walk through a property and I could basically say, this is not going to work because of what you need. And I showed him the video. I walked through him. He said, yeah, I totally agree.
So it's like so weird.
So what my feeling is, what actually happened was he was because his wife wanted to get out of the state that they were in. She wanted to get here because the weather where they were, she wanted to come here. So he was under an immense pressure from his family to move.
Yeah.
His job was probably giving him pressure to relocate and get here.
Yeah.
But it's a situation of loyalty.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be loyal to our clients.
Right.
But we ask our clients to be loyal to us, but are they? This
is why I get a buyer agreement.
Yeah. Well, in this situation for this particular company, I couldn't write one because
of the way that they're
correct.
Man, you had all the things, didn't you? It just was like one thing after the other.
Well, and when you write a contract based on them liking the home, them agreeing to the home, them seeing the home,
you've done your job. You deserve to get paid. That's
Yeah.
so interesting. I wonder if that. I wonder if other people agree. I agree with you. Everything's been met. All the contingencies have been met. You like it. You just changed your mind. But I did what I was supposed to,
Yeah. But right now in our market, 'cause I've talked to a lot of agents and some buyers. Right now, there's a lot of people canceling contracts right now because the feeling right now is the market's going down.
They're overpaying. They feel like they're not overpaying, right?
Yeah, so they're getting their contracts and they get cold feet and they're canceling. This was way before that.
Right. So that wasn't it.
That wasn't a situation.
That's crazy.
But even with that, I'm here to get my clients homes. Doesn't matter the property value. It does, I'm here to get my clients homes and make them happy home buyers.
Yes.
Situations like this, they happen, it's going to sting for a couple of years because that's a huge commission. It's 2.5% on a $4 million property is a lot of money.
Yeah, right.
But
and you also feel like it's not only about the money, but it's also about like, you felt like you did everything.
Stabbed in the back.
Got stabbed in the back. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, David. Well, maybe we can find some more clients for you. If people have a referral in San Jose, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, you want me to get my phone number?
Yeah, sure. That'll work.
So you can give me a call. Number is 408-647-6326.
Okay.
Or you can email me. It's david.sciplin@cbrealty.com.
And how do you spell Sciplin?
SCI, P as in Paul, LIN.
Perfect. Well, thanks for being on. I appreciate it.
Cool. I appreciate the opportunity to be on here with you. And, thank you.
Thank you.
What we need right now is a source for great leads. And I found it. It is called Pipeline Pro Tools. So about 90 days ago, I booked a demo with them. And in that demo, we reverse engineered my business. We figured out how many leads we needed to get in order to get to the closings that we want. And they gave me a playbook to use in order to get that. So I've been using it for 90 days. We've gotten 12 qualified leads, and about half of them are already under contract or closed, which is great. And it is right now my number one source for my best leads that I'm getting. I love this thing. I'm about to ramp up the number of leads that I get with them as well. So, and you might think it's expensive, and it's not. So I was looking for something that's very inexpensive, like affordable to everyone, but also generated great leads. We don't want crap leads. So what you do in order to get this, because I called them and I wanted to partner with them because I was like, this is exactly what our audience has been looking for. So they set up something specific just for us, just for Fight Club listeners. So you would go to pipelineprotools.com/Fight Club. And then you go to the demo, and the demo will show you how many leads you need in order to get the number of closings that you want to get. And then they will give you the playbook that I'm using, my number one playbook for getting leads. And then you can use it too, and we can have happy closings. So go to pipelineprotools.com/Fight Club, book and go to the demo and get all the leads. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a podcast.